So we'll reconvene the meeting. It is 11:14. I believe we've got a draft resolution.
So we have it in front of us. The teams have worked together on it to make it nice and clear. Hopefully it is clear, and to capture in some of the actions that we talked about previously. So just give people, oh, Tippa's got a hand up. Kia ora, Tippa.
Well, you're in there. Thanks for calm. Write a book.
You there, Tippa?
And happy to move the resolution, just had to move away from traffic.
Oh, kia ora, Tippa. I'm happy to second. Oh,
I just like a tiny little change on C. Should that say at the end of it for their considerations?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So moved by Tippa, seconded by me. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Okay, awesome. Carried. Thank you very much. Thanks.
All right, so we go on to item number 7. This is on page 27 of your agenda packs. This is the shovel-ready Waikato West Coast Restoration Program final report. And we have Carrie Nielsen and Tahoe.
So just a reminder, this was on our agenda at our last meeting, but Tahoe was away.
Yeah.
So we really wanted to see you here, Tahoe, to talk to your experience and let's close out project report. Over to you. Kia ora.
Can people online hear us? I'm not sure. Okay, cool. All right, tēnā koutou. I'm Carrie Nielsen. I'm Principal Catchment Advisor for Waikato Regional Council. My title probably changes. And yeah, through the chairs, we'll take the papers having been read, and apologies for last time for not being able to be here. Just wanted to give a final update. We've been presenting a dashboard throughout the shovel-ready process of progress against our projects within the rohe of Waikato Tainui, and this is the final one that we propose to present. So just going to give a quick update and hand over to Tahoe to give his experiences of the program. So just a reminder, we have 5 projects within the rohe running over a 4-year period with funders from multiple different central government agencies, as well as the Waikato River Authority and Council. The total value of the projects within the rohe was almost $12 million. So in terms of the jobs that were created or retained through the project, this is a little bit different from what's in the paper because we got some more information in from Waihi Whanui, but overall a really good outcome. Just under 50% of the jobs that were created were filled by iwi Māori, and we had about nearly 3 more jobs for FTEs that we created over the course of the program than what we anticipated at the outset of the project. And the Ngā Wai o Waikato project was our largest one that was carried out in priority catchments in the lower Waikato catchment. And that's the project that Tahoe was engaged initially to work on. In terms of environmental outputs, again, we achieved more than what we intended at the outset, with nearly 1 million plants planted, over 800 hectares retired, nearly 200 kilometres of fencing, and a lot of weed control as well undertaken. Capacity building was a really important part of the project, and we'd worked with Waikato Tainui staff in pulling this together. So over the course of the program, we have 4 Waikato Tainui affiliated summer interns that worked for 3 months of the year with our catchment teams. We had our full-time Waikato Tainui restoration officer, was Tahoe, started off as an intern and then worked into that full-time role. But also importantly, there was a pipeline of work for tribal enterprises throughout that period where we had 4 years of no-one funding, and enterprises could plan accordingly with the work for, particularly for planting, weed control and plant supply over that time. There was a lot of practical and formal training that was undertaken as well. All the interns got on-the-job training, but we also ran them through 4-wheel drive, first aid, water training, as well as working with Ngāti Hawa Mahi Trust for whānau to undergo Grow Safe certification and training in identification of plant species, fish species, and also some shared learning as well for our team with having traditional knowledge training as well. So there was benefits all round. And now I hand over to Tahoe to talk about his journey on the project.
Tēnā koe, Kerry. Tua te rangi nei, tua te papatako nei, tua whakarongo nai te manakitunga ki runga tō rātou kingi, a kingi te aitea pōta te whero te tuawhetu. E noho mai rā I runga te hirewa tuna mātua tuna whaia, rire hau, pai nā rire. Nā mā te huhua ke wangirua I a tātou, haere koutou ke tua pairau ki hunga te kauirea, haere whakaronga tūra. Rātou te hunga mate ki a rātou, tātou nā kānui ora tō tātou, nō reira kia ku rangatira, pau hāpai, ringa tō haunui o tō tātou iwi o Waikato, nei rā tātou koutou, e moko pūna I tēnei e Ngāti Whawhakia, ia emi ana. Ko te tai o nā kaimahi o te kaunahira o rohe Waikato, o tātou te Catchment Management Officer. Nō reira, tēnā koutou ku whanaunga. So yeah, I'm just, kia ora, my name is Tahuriki Paki. I'm a Catchment Management Officer. Yeah, I just want to talk to you a little bit about my journey as a Catchment Management Officer, why I chose it. A big part of that reason was being a father of 2 beautiful girls. They were my why, and I kind of got the opportunity to become a Catchment Management Officer so they could experience the tile I grew up with when I was a kid. So hence the reason for that. But yeah, just a little bit of an overview of what I learned when I was at the Waikato Regional Council. The Waikato Regional Council plays a crucial role in managing natural resources such as land, water and biodiversity. It's committed to its sustainability and development, ensuring the well-being of both people and the environment. So my journey, why I wanted to become a Catchment Management Officer. I embarked on my journey as a Ngā Waikato intern in the lower catchment in 2021 to 2022, where I was introduced to the ins and outs of catchment management and the importance of preserving land and water resources. From there, I dedicated my hard work, and in 2022 to 2023, I transitioned into a full-time Catchment Management Officer in the lower Waikato. As you know, part of that, I'm a carpenter by trade, so learning those kind of steps was a whole brand new thing to me, but understanding the tile was very, very important, as one of the reasons why I dedicated the hard work in trying to get a full-time job, and which I ended up doing in 2023. And from then on in to present, I'm now working in the Waipa catchment, working with our whānau down there. Yeah, so it's been very, very challenging, but it's also very, very important. So the fascinating world of catchment management, for those who don't know, it's just a little bit of an insight. Most of it is a holistic approach to the mahi that I do. I'm trying to maintain and restore ecological balance and preservation of precious and natural resources. So learning all that through those steps. It was very challenging for me, to say the least, but having the team around me and taking me under their wing really gave me a good understanding of what's there to offer to our whānau. Yeah. Oh, there's a handsome photo of me. Didn't know that. And just gaining knowledge and skills around the catchment management. I was able to get in and do hands-on field work, attend workshops, training sessions, and from all that, I was able to now work my way around GIS mapping, water quality assessment, environmental evaluation, and I also was able to have my drone license, so able to get out in the field and do droning and take photos for any of our whānau that we do mahi with. So it's been very, very pleasing. And finally, just empowering our whānau, marae, hapu and iwi, having connections to Waikato Tainui. I think it's very important that our whānau, marae, hapu and iwi are very involved in the mahi that we do. They're the ones on the ground, so getting that information through to us and being able to share what we know with them goes a very, very long way. Also getting some Indigenous perspectives and traditional knowledge. So where I grew up, all the information I learned about an area was from my kaumātua and kuya. So their stories were able to let me know what was happening in the area. We can look at records for days, but once we have that experience on the ground from whānau, it really makes a special connection to when we do the projects. And just facilitating restoration projects. Later on, I'll show you a photo of what I've done. And yeah, the customary rights that we have as mana whenua around the projects that we do. And just empowering future generations. I kind of started my journey in the environmental space well in my age, if you want to call it. I won't say how old I am, but a bit further on. And I was just opened my eyes to a whole new world. So it's very important that we can empower the future generations to do the mahi we do, because it's all for them. What we do now is for them, for our kids and their kids. So yeah. And yeah, just before I leave, this is a project I overlooked in the Mangatangi stream. You can see on the right hand side, that's a before and an after shot of the same area. We had plenty of cracked willow, gorse, privet, you name it, was all in the Mangatangi stream. We were able to go in there, working with whānau, the Kōhero Trust. There were 5 whānau involved. It was the Pompey whānau, the Wheatley whānau, the Browns and the Jensons in Mangatangi. And this is just up from the marae, just up from there. As you can see, we're able to go in and clear it all out, removing all the cracked willow and all the other stuff and leaving all behind the natives on the right hand side, which is like Karakia. A lot of the stuff there we learned from the kuya that just lived across on the right hand side here. Her house is right there, so able to understand those stories that she was able to tell us really brought a tear to our eyes. And just in that, we're able to do over 2.5 kilometres of new fencing on both sides and around 2,500 native plants restored on that whenua. So this was really important to me as one of the kaumātua, the name of George Wheatley, sadly passed away, but he was a very big motivation to getting whānau in on the projects. As you know, it's quite difficult, as we know, as whānau trying to get whānau, I'll jump on or wait a while, but he was a real driving force, and for the whānau jumped on board with this project. And yeah, it's very special because I started making connections with whānau from Mangatangi. And, the pleasing thing was the kuya said every time she wakes up in the morning now, she can see her tupuna when she says the awa. So yeah, that's just my little journey. I hope you enjoyed it. Nothing flash, but yeah, kia ora.
Hey, thank you for sharing that story with us. I think that it gives a level of richness that we don't necessarily get in tables and graphs and words on page. So really appreciate what you put together for us and what you shared with us. It's really cool.
Tēnā koe tāhau. I just want to mihi to you and your journey, journey back to the taiao, and your reasons for it, you know, for future generations. You're like the perfect example of what we want to see in the taiao space. Our own whānau, driven by, I guess, empowering future generations, reflecting on our past through our current kaumātua and our tūpuna to restore the taiao for the future and restore that connection with each other. So I just want to say, you know, awesome mahi. Mahi to you and the mahi that you've done and what you'll continue to do through your catchment officer work in the upper Waipa, challenging space. Also want to mahi to Uncle George. So as you'll know, Uncle George is from Taniwha as well. We whakapapa through the huiarangi whānau and Taniwha have also benefited from the Ngā Waiwa Waikato project as well. But awesome to see the progression from intern to catchment management officer and then full-time catchment management officer in a really challenging space, the upper Waipa. So just want to mihi to you and your whānau and your kōtiro, and hope that you are instilling that passion in them for the taiao and that they can see the fruits of your labour. So, nui ki a koe. Kia ora, Bruce.
Yeah, I'd also want to say something about the marvellous work that you're doing. And the reminder to us about the names that we use for job titles. Seriously. You made the so powerful there. You know, actually, the first time I was some of this was when my 11-year-old daughter said to me one day, "What's your job?" And I gave her a big long job title from the University of Waikato. And she said, "Oh, you're Captain Planet." The point is, the name needs to reflect what the real underlying, you know, objective of the work is. I think we can do better than catchment management officer. So it's not next to yeah, we need to think about some of those names. And thank you for that's fantastic.
Our biggest concern now is Jaden's going to try and steal him. But yeah, exactly. Enough taki already trying to try, and we want to keep our one that we've got and maybe steal some.
Start growing some more.
Yeah, exactly.
So just noting that action, the regional council is going to be reviewing the names of their
Well, it should have been. It should already have been like, to be honest. There should have been, you know, more than just the English language job, surely.
Yeah.
Where is it?
I just want to acknowledge the tribe as well through the chairs for the working together. We jointly recruited through that position and through that process. It's been so successful and it's something that we'd really like to continue because, you know, success story. Well, we've got a little success story over there as well. Jaden was one of our interns once as well, but to have was always a vision that our interns could stay on and work, be part of the full-time team, and we're really proud of that. Yeah, proud of that.
I just want to add to just Mihi too, Jaden. He was there when I went in, so kind of took me under his big little wing. Yeah, he did definitely help me out, and I was really appreciative of that, bro. And also to our whānau at Waikato Tainui to allow me to jump on the intern and I'll be part of it. I'm still here today, and yeah, go now.
Yes. I've actually got 3 examples in the room.
Oh, John.
Yeah, that's very
Jaden. So big tip for tat.
Yeah, that's true.
Keep John. But I think this is a celebration. I know that on our actions, we need to reflect on what sorts of things to celebrate. And I think 1, 2, 3 is a celebration in itself. Growing our people to be doing this work on both sides of the fence for the benefit of our whānau.
I'm mindful that the shovel-ready funding is wrapping up, and so just keen to reflect on what next.
Yeah,
So coming back to the rest of the report.
Yeah, so we had been really successful. There's still a lot of enthusiasm with landowners, and so we applied to the Waikato River Authority again last year to continue the projects, albeit at a smaller scale. But through that, we have made commitments as well to continue the intern program, the summer intern programs. We had an awesome intern last year. He's gone back to study further, but he's someone that we would really like to again as a longer term employee once he's finished that. So yeah, we acknowledge that the level of funding isn't there for the enterprises that there has been, but we're still continuing with the program and those priority catchments and with those enterprises that we engaged throughout that 4 years.
Also, and when signals are from our long-term plan discussion that we are looking at increasing the Natural Heritage Partnership Program quite substantially. And so I just came to explore applications to that as well. Just since it was quite oversubscribed in the past, but it's almost tripling in value.
Is it a fund that the regional council?
Yeah. So there are 3 parts to it. One is a small scale initiatives, which is up to 5,000, I believe, for pest control. That's a really small one. Then there's an environmental initiatives fund, which is grants up to 40,000, and then there's the natural heritage fund, which is up to 400,000. But that's more looking for multi-year things. And I think there's a piece there around how when it's more than a summer internship, when it's an ongoing thing, that you can really grow further even over the summer. So just we had in discussion at times, you know, how many applications are coming in from Māori, iwi, etc. I don't know the answer to that anymore, but just putting it out there that now that it has more capacity, it seems, would be one to explore further as well from, say, whānau getting engaged. What could be done? Yeah.
Is that something that can be explored with the assistance of your teams who have established the relationship with our whānau doing this work and who have built up the capacity?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything stopping us from supporting organisations in their applications.
Yeah, so I think on the website it says to inquire, and we have staff members who can support as to what might be required to put on an application. But I just wanted to flag it since it's so many things have been decreased in the funding case of this kind of thing. This is one thing that's looking at.
And we've decided to increase. That's remember when we talked through the long-term plan, that was increasing the natural heritage rate to $15 per property. That's the result.
Well, just as an action, because I don't want it to get lost and our people will maybe not look at a website that they necessarily know about. If Kerry and her team could proactively reach out to the individual businesses that you've been working alongside through this program and just let them know and put out the offer to support them in developing the proposal or application.
Great.
Thank you. Thanks, Gina. Because I did have a question around now we've assisted in developing and growing this capacity. What can we do to maintain that capacity and support that capacity? That's one example. Are there any others? I suppose there'll be residual work that regional council need to undertake. Are these enterprises being approached as sort of priority contractors?
Yeah, that's right. So just up through the chairs, we have a number of those. Most of those enterprises, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Taho, they're now they approved providers, and so that means that they have a as required contract. So they've met all the health and safety requirements, and we can engage them through a much simpler process than previously. And so we are regularly engaging those providers still. With Ngāti Hawa Mahi Trust, actually, we put in another application jointly with them to continue that project separately from the Ngā Waikato one. So so that their capacity is continuing to be met through that project. And anything else to add? Yeah. There's challenges. I know probably Councillor Cookman, you know, a lot of nurseries really built up capacity over that period of shovel ready, and now with some of the changes in central government and the loss of that money, there are challenges for some of those nurseries. But we are continuing to work with the likes of Karakia, Ngāti Hawa, and then our planting teams as well to continue to.
All right. Just conscious of our. We are, choosing to accept or receive the report.
Page 27 of the pic.
I have the amount.
All right, so you can see that we have recorded that, that action.
And the other action around regional council looking to review the names of their roles.
I think there's some work that's been done on that, but I'm not sure it's up to, so
That's the thing.
just a good prompt
Yeah.
to keep pushing.
All right, do I have a mover for that? It's Councillor Nicol. Or sorry, trustee. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right. To item 18, I'm sorry, 8. This is on page 32 of your agenda, the joint management agreement and co-management agreement obligations implementation report. Just noting our timing, though it is 11:41 and I believe lunch is at 12. So just so everybody can stay cognizant on us making diligent progress, though paying attention all along. All right, who's Molly? Are you speaking to this? Nice.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chairs, and to our play government committee members in our koutou, and also all of the officials here that are to support our co-governance committee. Yes, we've got 20 minutes standing between you and lunch, so I'll keep this really brief. A key task of this group is to keep oversight of our joint management agreement and co-managed lands agreement. And so we've produced a report on how well we are doing against our obligations. This will, from here forward, become a standard report for you to maintain that oversight. I'll just quickly draw your attention to page 33. The full extent of all the obligations are actually included in the agenda, but on page 33, there was a dashboard to give you a very quick view of how well we are tracking. Essentially, some of the obligations in our JMA and co-managed lands agreement are complete and don't require any further action. Many are on track and are of an ongoing nature, and so they'll just continue to tick over. There are some obligations that are yet to be triggered, and just to give you an example of an obligation that is yet to be triggered, council is required to follow an agreed process to address private plan change requests. However, we haven't received a private plan change request, and that's why that particular obligation hasn't been triggered. There are also a small number of obligations that do require closer attention because we are having some challenges in delivering on those obligations. And in both of the agreements, they relate to review. We are supposed to be reviewing both agreements on a 2-yearly cycle, but we have failed to do that to date. And also related to review, there is an obligation in the joint management agreement that requires us to consider additional schedules to the joint management. So we can certainly take a look at kicking that off when we get around to the review process, which happens to be the next item on the agenda.
I really like the layout of the report, by the way. Works for me.
Any questions?
First one.
Oh, Tippa, Councillor Mahia.
Thank you for the report. Secondly, just given where we are at the maturity of this JMA, Marley, can you suggest any other improvements that we should look at? Because it still seems to take a long time from decision to execution. And again, that's on both parties. but have the team found any ways to get efficiencies tuatahi? And my second one is, and I don't know whether to talk about here in the last point, is now that we're moving to self-administered or more self-administered drainage zones, are there any implications for our co-management arrangements? Because there weren't as many when we started this, and implications for the VNS. Thank you.
Kia ora tipa. So a couple of things I heard there. One is how might we improve the JMA and our processes, and the second one relates to drainage activity, and I'll have a crack at that one, but there might be others in the room that might want to add to it. On the JMA and improvements, I must say that this particular co-governance committee has, over the past 18 months, adopted some improvement processes. For example, keeping track of our actions, developing a strategic program together. Yeah, so those are a couple of really good examples of, I guess, this particular co-governance committee looking to continue to move forward. But also in the next item that I'll talk to again really briefly, we are proposing that we kick off a joint management agreement and co-managed lands review process. And through that process, we're really wanting to seek that type of feedback from the people around the table here. And also key staff that are involved in implementation of joint management agreement and co-managed lands agreement. So I think collectively, with input from everybody, we will continue to look for those improvements. As for drainage.
Thank you, Marlene.
Yeah, kia ora. So I guess it's the co-managed lands agreement that really, I guess, solidifies the role of Waikato Whakamutunga and this co-governance committee in the way that we manage our flood protection assets. Actually, I see Sarah Leland is online, and she is talking to a related topic today. So either Sarah might want to chime in here or provide some further comment when she's up next.
How about she, we'll get Sarah to speak to that when we get to that item, saying that's the specific focus of that. Are you happy to do that then, Sarah?
Sure, absolutely, I can do that.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments in relation to this report? If not,
The only comment I was going to make is, where something has turned into standard BAU activity, but it's still in the list. Is there a mechanism for kind of clearing those things out and
Or a separate table underneath.
or that, yeah, that's right, or they go to the right to the end, and so you don't have to read them and all, but yeah, unless you really want to, just so that you can, then you know what's still
Really absolutely moving and
Yeah.
versus the same.
because those things are coming up as on track, I think.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that they're a work in progress, but they're not really.
They're ongoing, yeah.
Yeah, but they've turned into a standard activity. Yeah.
And could
So
have,
it's good feedback. We can
have another
certainly-
category of and people at the same table. They could.
happy to take
Just a.
advice and guidance from this group, because it's really for you to have that oversight, so we can.
Yeah, because I assume they're still on the list because you want to be able to.
So that we are doing it.
When you're in meeting.
Where's that thing? Where's that thing? To make it faster.
That's good. Thank you.
all right. Do I have a mover to accept the report? Councillor Clarkson, seconding Councillor Nicol. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right, now we'll go to item 9. I have a 9. So item 9 is on page 46. This is a scope of the review of the JMA.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Co-Chair. So following on from that previous report and actually just noting we've now got 11 minutes until lunch, it's still a number of items. This is so brief. As was previously mentioned, one of the obligations that we have struggled to deliver on is reviewing our agreements. The last review was undertaken in 2017. We are now 2024, so 5 years overdue, essentially. So we just really want to flag to the Co-Governance Committee that we're going to kick off the review, and we propose that the approach we will take is focus in on those obligations in both of the agreements where we are struggling to deliver, and do an analysis to understand why we are struggling to deliver those things. But the second part is more of a qualitative analysis where we will gather information from governors and also operational staff on important matters such as our engagement practices, political impacts, i.e. there are changes in central government. How does this affect the way that we work together, if at all? Relationship principles, the effectiveness of our co-governance mechanisms, and also operational mechanisms. And so what we're proposing to do is to run another review or at the next opportunity where we meet. I think it's what we May, June, that's probably about September. So at our September meeting, we will have a session on the JMA review and get the information from you that we in order to undertake an analysis and then potentially draft changes to the agreements if necessary. And between now and then, I'll work alongside Mara and also Toituu to put together a facilitated session for the day.
All right, do we have any questions on?
Considering that it is quite some time over here, balanced with the resourcing levels we've got, I'd be keen to spend the timeline of what we're thinking here, because there's the opportunity to workshop together like we did for the work that Sarah Leland's going to talk to next, and that I thought was really, really good. Or there's an opportunity just to feedback at a meeting, like when Marley's suggesting. So I'm just keen to hear what people think will work best and the timeline of it. It's also good.
I thought that the workshop approach was really well.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, really focused. You don't get caught up in all the formalities of things, and as you just sort of get to it. And our workshop followed a workshop between staff, so the staff had sort of had their thing that was, I remember it was shared first, or certainly shared as part of the whole process, but I thought that worked well. Got a tipper.
Aroha mai, just wondering if we can bring the time frame forward or have the workshop out of sync with the meetings. Seems like a long time. Tāku nei, kia ora.
Yeah, that way perhaps the results of the workshop could come to the next meeting.
So maybe a
If
workshop
that's
in
possible.
August.
Exploring.
Yep, we'll look to find some dates.
That's a good suggestion. The other things.
August is busy. It's busy.
We have 7 days in August.
7 days.
So that's gonna just absorb a whole lot of free time. It will probably be.
We'll see what we can.
Yeah.
Work in. But if it's August, beginning. Probably the easiest way to do it.
All right. So, do I have a mover for this? Councillor Nicol and Councillor Trustee. Let's get the right one, the right nomenclature for this. Trustee Jackie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 10,
It's compliance manager.
Item 10, this is on page 49. And now we've got Sarah Leyland online. And you'll pick up any commentary you wanted to add with that previous item as well.
Yep, kia ora tātou. Thank you all, and I am certainly conscious of time today. So just at a very high level, I would just note that the status report reflects what is in the implementation plan, Mahia Te Mahi, and I've added a comments column and a status column so that you can see the status of the various actions and what we've completed thus far and what we're working on. So recently had a catch up with Jaden on this one, and we've got other hui planned as well. So all in all, it's tracking really well, and great to have some progress already on some of the actions there. Going forward as part of the future agendas, propose that I can just include the table with actions as part of the overall strategic program update rather than as a separate paper, unless it's preferred that it is kept separate. But I thought just for the first reporting back of actions that I just capture it separately as a report, so that it was really clear that linked back and followed on from the approval of the strategy and the implementation plan. So if you're happy, chairs, with taking it as read today, and I'm happy to take any comments or questions on any of the actions there. And just in relation to the earlier question regarding drainage provisions, I think, within that co-management agreement and within the strategy and implementation plan, I think, they do work to incorporate both, obviously, the objectives of Waikato Tainui and also regional council in terms of, the management of flood protection and drainage assets. So, so with the review, I see, that being, quite, I guess, straightforward in a way to, continue incorporating that, if I've understood the comment earlier correctly. So I will leave it there and hand over to you for any comments or questions.
Does that address your question, Jen?
Yep, no, I'm fine.
My only comment was on the items that are due in September or December this year that haven't started yet. Just noting that when we agreed on the program, we asked several times around, is there enough resourcing, funding to deliver the program? We had reassurance that there was. So not going to suggest that we revise those timeframes, but just wanting to note that some of those are coming up. They'll be with us before we know it. And just, I'm sure you already know, just a reminder to get started on some of them.
Yep, absolutely. So we have made a start on a number of them. We did have a meeting last week, and we do have a site visit planned with Waikato Tainui and Mana Whenua in the next week, and I think through the on-site visits we'll be able to start progressing a number of those actions, which we thought would really benefit from a on-site visit prior, to just really get an understanding of things like access requirements, or what would be assessing in terms of how those settlement lands are being managed and the like. But yeah, certainly cognizant of the timeframes there, and also looking to engage some further services from Nicholas Manukau to support us with the implementation, and he is available to support us with that. So certainly working to those timeframes best we can.
All right, any other questions on the report? It's good to say that. So there's all right. I'm happy to move that it be received. Do I have a second? All those in favor? Opposed?
The last item on the agenda, progress on the strategic work program.
Kia ora, I've got 11 seconds. So it will be very brief. We update on this every time. In every area of work or every action, there's been progress. In particular, the spatial data team has sat down with Jaden and really identified what are the key things that they want, and I'm really happy with how that's moving forward. That's what was envisaged, that sort of action and activity. The two that we've identified as just taking longer and we've been particularly concerned about. One is the procurement, and we said last time that our procurement manager Aston is really looking to it. He said it could take about 6 months because he's trying to assess and get into our new system, which is the Enforce system, how we can acknowledge the affiliation of iwi affiliation of our contractors and also subcontractors and how that's going to work. So he is working on that. The other one is, well, and this is progressing still, but with the resilience plan, which is also part of the joint committee. The only issue that we found there is with our manager, Julie Snowball, doesn't sees that his reporting should be to the joint committee rather than to this committee. But however, the work's progressing. So he's identified that it was only Waikato Tainui and Raupatu who signalled to him that they're ready to start progressing this. So he's going to start progressing that. I don't think that meeting has happened. The other iwi will be communicated with, and when they're ready, we'll start with that. So that's my 11 seconds worth of debrief. Everything's moving forward, and otherwise, if there's any questions, happy to take them.
Thanks. My only one was on agenda page 67, and it was collaborating to develop a joint advocacy strategy for approaching other agencies for funding. It was due by March 24, so it's fine for March 24 is on. So unless I missed something, obviously.
Capacity funding of Mahi.
Yeah.
That's under the iwi capacity funding. Oh, there was one other comment just before you do that. Last time we presented these two whaimana, like the overarching, this is what it could look like. And you said, well, the next step will be really crunching down to make measurable, consistent, or get the objectives into measurable, consistent sort of scenario so that we can put them into that framework. So that work is progressing. Just not at the stage we can present. So hopefully next time. But in terms of the iwi capacity funding, Marlene?
Agenda page
67. Due by March 24.
I haven't got the detail at my fingertips, can't quite find it, but what I can tell you is that we have started conversations with Tribe about entering into a significant agreement for the iwi capacity fund. We're almost there. Probably we'll get it over the line for the end of the month. That's how we're tracking. And along with that is an action to consider how we might collaborate with others to increase the money. Basically. Yeah. We've got a couple of ideas about what we might be able to do, but we're still in discussion at a staff level on that. So we'll probably be in a position to provide a better update at the next week. Some ideas that spring to mind, for example, because we are, I guess, have developed a service level agreement, there is potential that other councils might like to have a look at what we're doing and jump on board. Just as, I guess, an idea, but there's also other agencies auditing the government to have conversations with us.
My new recommendation might be to, in the body of the memo, the front page, you have a table similar to your other. How we have challenges, then we can straight away. And it might be things where something has passed recently, like March 24, or it could be when something's coming up while maybe we can talk about a bit. And get really hyped on the line.
All right, any other comments or questions?
I guess just ahead of the next two, you know that the document after the designed up version sort of provides a bit of narrative around progress. We've got a number where this decisions hadn't been made at the time of publishing the agenda. So maybe at the next two, if we can allocate some time, that's down to us managing our time better to go through this in a bit more detail.
There might be questions at the end always that we do rush it a bit.
Yeah.
All right. There's no other questions, comments?
Just one comment. Of course, the one of the later actions is about site tours, and we have a site tour after this. And just once the meeting's finished, either Sarah or myself, we just give a little bit of last minute practical information to everybody about that. So thank you.
Great.
Thank you for organizing.
All right, do I have a mover and trustee Nanangi and second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. And that's what's three. Well done.
There's just some closing remarks from me before we ask with where to be closed. It's just reflecting on the first agenda item that we covered. I think that it's I guess a sign of a healthy relationship that we can have that type of conversation openly and without, I guess, any real tension and find a solution forward. So I just want to acknowledge that the strength of our relationship in dealing with those matters. Hopefully it will roll through your elected members and, you know, we won't have to come back to regional council with any further correspondence. I just wanted to acknowledge that. He's disappeared, but I also wanted to acknowledge Tahoe again and Jaden and Johnny. There it is, for the work that he has done in his time in the taiao space and will continue to do for our awa, so tēnā koe Tahoe, and also just the level of reporting and the progress reporting against all of the different action plans. So kia ora Mali and kia ora Roger for that, just from me. Kia ora, Madam Chair.
All right, so we'll close the room now with the
No, I got it. Very good. Tātou kapo, tātou ki tāu kroiti, te aroa tātou, te whikta taipani, ki tō ero tātou, ake, tāme.
Okay, can I just take 2 minutes of your time?
So we'll just declare the meeting closed at, well, we'll wait.
Kia ora, thank you.